Good morning, Abundant Life Church. This is Pastor Chris, and today we're going to be continuing our study on Romans chapter 3, verses 21 through 26. We've been talking about the idea that God gave us the gift of Jesus. That gift is for anybody who wants to come, but that gift is the only way we can be saved. We can't be saved without Jesus. And again, it's for everybody. But our real question is, why did God give us that gift? What was his agenda here? I am taping this, like I tape these a few weeks ahead of time. You're probably going to be watching this sometime in, I'm guessing, late September, early October. As I'm taping this, it's the last Monday before football season starts. Oh, I'm so anxious for football. And one of the most famous photographs ever taken in football, and I remember this game, it was when the 49ers were playing the Cowboys for the right to go to the Super Bowl. The 49ers had been terrible for years, and now all of a sudden, they're kind of good, but are they in over their head? They're playing the mighty Dallas Cowboys. And with about a minute or so to go in the game, the 49ers are losing, and they need a touchdown to win. And Joe Montana rolls out to his right. He's about 10 yards out of the end zone. He throws up a pass that at first people thought he's just thrown it away. But Dwight Clark made this amazing catch. He leaps up high in the air. The photograph, go ahead and Google, just Google the catch. You're either going to get Willie Mays in the World Series back in '53, or you're going to get Dwight Clark making that catch. But here's the thing. The Cowboy defender who's right behind him, who you can just tell just got beat, just lost the game, lost the right to go to the Super Bowl, is his name is Everson Walls. I want to talk about Everson Walls for a second. His best friend on the Cowboys was Ron Springs, a running back. After they had both retired years later, Ron Springs was diagnosed with diabetes, and eventually he got so bad that he needed a new kidney to survive. His son, Sean Springs, who by this point was a football player himself, played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, offered to end his career to donate one of his kidneys. He couldn't play in the NFL if he had donated a kidney, but he was willing to give up his career for his dad. That's a tremendous gift. His dad refused it. He said, "I'm not going to end your career for this." But remember Everson Walls, the guy who gave up the catch, his best friend when they both played? Everson Walls donated one of his. Now here's my point. Anytime a real rabid football fan like myself hears the name Everson Walls, we always think of, oh, he's the guy who gave up the catch. He's the guy who cost the Cowboys the Super Bowl. That's not what he should be remembered for. He should be remembered for this phenomenal gift that he gave out of friendship. This passage we look at today is about a gift. It's the gift of God giving his son so that we could have life. He knew we needed it. He knew we didn't deserve it. So why did God do it? Now, the simplest and most logical answer here is, yeah, because God knew we need it. He knew there was no way for us to be saved. Is that why God gave his son? Well, of course it is. He gave us this gift because there was no other way to be saved. But just like we said last time, there's another agenda here. There's a deeper reason that we need to keep looking for. If we just say, well, he gave us the cross because we needed it, and we stop right there, we're missing something important. We're missing something life-changing. There is another reason, and we can't overlook it. Okay, so is this other reason God gave us the cross so we could be restored to fellowship with him? I mean, wasn't that the overall plan? God made us, he created us originally so that we could have a fellowship with him, a love with him. But our sin separated us from God. You know, I've always said that's the entire story of the Bible. God made us to have fellowship. Our sin broke that fellowship, and the rest of the Bible is how God restored that fellowship through Jesus Christ. So is that why he gave us the cross? Absolutely. But again, it's not the only reason. We need to keep looking. When I was a youth pastor, I like to joke about this. If I were to take like, 15 kids out on a trip somewhere and only came back with 12, is it really fair for me to say, hey, come on, don't I get credit for the 12 I brought back safely? No, it doesn't work that way. You need to bring them all back. If we're looking for a reason why God gave his son, just saying that because we needed it, because it's the only way we could be saved, so we can have fellowship with him, yeah, those are great reasons and absolutely true, but they're not all the reasons. We need to find all the reasons. So let's find this one other reason that often gets overlooked, and we can find it in this passage. Look at verses 25 and 26 right now. God presented Christ as a sacrifice of atonement through the shedding of his blood to be received by faith. Okay, that's all stuff we've covered. It was an atonement. It saved us from our sins. Right? But now listen to this next part. He did this to demonstrate his righteousness, because in his forbearance he had left the sins committed beforehand unpunished. He did it to demonstrate his righteousness at the present time, so as to be just and the one who justifies those who have faith in Jesus Christ. Here's the dilemma. God can't just say, okay, you've sinned against me, you've broken our fellowship. Don't worry about it. No, that sin costs something. It ruins something. You can't just shake it off. God says with sin comes a price, and that price has to be paid. I'm not going to just say, don't worry about it. But he knows we can't pay that price. He sent his son so that price could be paid. What does this tell us about God's character? Now, remember what the concept of a God was like in other religions. These gods are angry, they're insecure. You have to give them sacrifices to keep them from wiping you out. Okay, but with the cross, who made that sacrifice? God sacrificed for us so that we could be saved. These other gods, just insecure bullies. But our God is a loving Father who wants his children to see and to understand what I paid for you. The cross shows us what God is like. It shows us that he loves us. Isn't it fair to say that a reason God gave us the cross was not just so we could be saved, not just so we could have our fellowship restored, but so that we could understand the price that was paid and the depth of God's love? This is the great overlooked reason that needs to be stressed more. Why God gave us Jesus, so that we would see his righteousness and his glory. We'll talk more about this next time. Until then, have a great day.